Good day, everyone. So this is the presentation of Group 5, and today we will present our study entitled Through the Looking Glass of Time, a contrastive analysis of Alice in Wonderland from classic literature to modern film. Our presentation focuses on comparing the original novel Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and its film adaptation Alice in Wonderland. We will analyze how the story changes over time by focusing on three literary elements: characterization, theme, and setting, and how these reflect differences in storytelling between the classic and modern versions. First, let's talk about the background of the author. So Lewis Carroll, whose real name is Charles Lutwidge Dodgson, was a Victorian-era writer, mathematician, and logician. He is best known for his work Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, published in 1865. The story was inspired by a real child named Alice Liddell, whom Carroll entertained with imaginative stories. His background in logic and mathematics strongly influenced his writing, especially his use of nonsense, wordplay, and paradox, which are central to the novel. Because of these, his work is not just a children's story, but also a philosophical exploration of language, logic, and identity. So, for the summary of the work, the story follows a young girl named Alice who falls down a rabbit hole into a strange world called Wonderland. In this world, she encounters unusual characters such as the White Rabbit, the Cheshire Cat, and the Queen of Hearts. Each encounter presents illogical and absurd situations. The narrative is episodic and dreamlike, meaning it does not follow a clear sequence of cause and effect. Throughout the story, Alice tries to understand this world using logic, but she constantly fails because everything is unpredictable. In the end, she wakes up, suggesting that the entire experience may have been just a dream, leaving the meaning open to interpretation. Now, in terms of characterization, there is a clear contrast between the novel and the film adaptation. In the novel, Alice portrayed as a young, curious, and imaginative child. However, she mainly acts as a passive observer, reacting to events rather than controlling them. She tries to remain polite and logical even in absurd situations. In contrast, in the film adaptation, Alice is reimagined as a 19-year-old young woman. She becomes an active protagonist, often described as a chosen hero. Instead of simply observing, she drives the story forward and shows independence and self-reflection. This shift shows how modern storytelling prepares strong, active characters rather than passive ones. So, for its analysis, looking deeper in the novel, Alice constantly tries to apply real-world rules to a world that does not follow logic. This highlights the theme of absurdity. The supporting characters such as the Mad Hatter and the Queen of Hearts are symbolic and exaggerated, representing ideas rather than realistic personalities. There is also no clear character development, as Alice does not significantly change by the end. In contrast, in the film, Alice experiences internal conflict, especially about identity and societal expectations. The supporting characters are given emotional depth and clear motivations, making them more relatable. Most importantly, Alice undergoes a clear transformation, growing from uncertainty into a confidence. This reflects modern storytelling, which emphasizes character, growth, and personal development.
Now, let's look at the differences in theme between the novel and the film adaptation. In the novel, titled Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, The theme focuses on the disruption of logic and meaning. The world is unstable and often nonsensical, which reflects absurdity and satire. There's also no fixed moral, so readers are free to interpret the story in their own imagination or in their own way. On the other hand, in the film adaptation titled Alice in Wonderland, the theme shifts toward identity and self-realization. The story follows a more structured hero's journey, emphasizing empowerment and independence. Unlike the novel, the film presents a clearer moral direction. For a deeper analysis, the novel presents reality as uncertain and constantly shifting. Authority figures like the Queen of Hearts are irrational, which adds to the chaos. There's also confusion in identity and language, making the story open to multiple interpretations. In contrast, the film focuses more on the idea of order versus chaos. The world in Underland is eventually restored to balance, and the story provides emotional and moral clarity. It also highlights Alice's personal growth, making her journey more meaningful and more relatable. Moving on to the setting, the novel begins in a simple Victorian riverbank before transitioning into Wonderland, which is surreal and fragmented. The setting follows dream logic, meaning that there's no clear geography or structure. In the film, however, the setting is called Underland, and it is portrayed as a more coherent fantasy world. It is visually organized with a clear structure and spatial progression, making it easier for the audience to follow Alice's journey in Wonderland, or should I say, Underland. In conclusion, the novel and the film present very different interpretations of Alice's story. The novel emphasizes absurdity, imagination, and open-ended meaning, while the film focuses on the structure, clarity, empowerment, and self-discovery. Alice herself changes from a passive observer in the novel to an active protagonist in the film. While the novel offers more imaginative freedom but less resolution, the film provides emotional clarity but less ambiguity. Overall, the story remains relevant because it continues to explore important themes like identity, reality, and imagination through different interpretations.